conversation. This is Work Smarter, Not Harder. And we are diving in today. I'm your host, Sue Jenks, and I'm super excited to be joined by two amazing guests today. Allow me to welcome Karolyn Hart and Janet Dore. First up, we'll speak with Karolyn Hart, who's founder and president of IHUBApp, and she's going to be spilling the tea on all things affiliate marketing. And then we'll chat with Janet Dore, just a rock star and an incredibly successful CEO of Scribaceous. She also happens to be the first official certified hubmaster for the IHUBApp and the first IHUBApp ally. So we're going to learn a little more about her successful hub journey today. Welcome to you both.
Thank
Thanks, Sue,
you.
for having us.
So let's, if we can, talk a little bit about where we are today. I know that many Americans are feeling the strain of the current economy and their lives, and we're seeing really a perfect storm of factors hitting people. Inflation is skyrocketing, and I just read that the Consumer Price Index is up 2.9% in the past year, which it doesn't sound like a lot, 2%, but trust me, it's making a real difference in people's wallets. And I'm sure that some of you attending today have felt it at the grocery store. I mean, I don't know about you, but food at home prices have jumped 11.4% in the last year, which is insane. So you've got people that are struggling to afford basic necessities, and wages are staying pretty flat. I've noticed that interest rates are climbing, and it's just making it generally harder for people to buy homes. I'm in the New York area, and it's just impossible to be able to afford a home. I don't know about you. In fact, if you want to just give us a little shout as to where you're logging in from today, that would be really interesting information for us. But these interest rates, as they climb, they make it harder for people to buy homes and cars, and it's a huge squeeze. So the job insecurity and stagnant wages have left so many people struggling to make ends meet. And as we mentioned, we have rising interest rates that have made borrowing more expensive. So it's really impacting everything from home ownership to car purchases, and these pressures are causing stress and anxiety, forcing people to make tough choices about spending and saving, and honestly looking for other ways to make ends meet. So, way to bring down the room today. I know with all that information, but we need some good news. So, Karolyn, is there any hope? Can you give us any hope?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with everything that we're talking about right now and what it means when we are resource constrained, right? And I'm so excited today that Janet Dore is here to share her inspiring story. Because I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people. And also, Janet and I, we got introduced by a mutual friend named Mark, and I know that he is here today. We want to say hello to him. And that was kind of a funny story that we'll explore about how that came about. But one of the immediate kind of spinal alignment connections that happened with Janet and I is that we started getting into our back histories, right? One of the things that happens when we see people who are successful, we think, wow, they're so look, they've got the easy life, don't they? They've got it together. They've been leading that company for 10 years. And what you may not know is the entire backstory or the why behind what they're doing. And one of the things that really connected Janet and I is I was sharing with her that in my early years, coming out, trying to find my own way in life, I know what it is to be food insecure. I know what it is to be working in a very successful company and then having to use a blessing cupboard because where I was at in the part of my career and getting out there and finding my way and having to find groceries, that can be a challenge. And I know what that is. And so a lot of people are surprised when they learn that. But it actually is not as unusual as you would think. And I think it's important that we do talk about that. So because of that experience that I had, extremely sensitive to grocery prices. You know, someone just told me last week up in Canada, they saw an eggplant for $13.99. And I'm trying to validate that. But if that's the case, I mean, first of all, I hope it's a huge egg like you in the grocery store. But like, it's one of those things where it's like, what is going on in the world? How does that work? When, you know, we have these aspirations, we have these dreams to have experiences in life, but right now you're actually just trying to meet the grocery bill. And just before we jump into Janet's story, I would do also want to share this story about we're going to be talking about IHUBApp. We're going to be talking about the solutions that we have and how we want to launch 1 million dreams. But why is that? And the catalyst was always there in my heart from the very beginning. But during the last year, I had a situation where I was in a grocery line and I know the card hustle that you recognize it when you've seen somebody or you've been in those circumstances. And I was watching carefully, and the woman in front of me didn't have enough to cover her grocery bill. And so she had to go out to her. She said, I have another card out in my car. Let me go get it. And so I immediately went up to the woman. I said, how much is the bill? And she said, $30. And I said, you know what? Stick her groceries on go give her groceries. Just tell her, don't let her know that it was us or anything like that. And just go give it to her. And I immediately got on to the phone to my head of growth. And I said, you know, if we can launch a million dreams, it's not just a million dreams. It's not just your passive income. It's not just your entrepreneur. It's bringing dignity. It's bringing respect. It's bringing these powerful things so that you can thrive. And when we invest into entrepreneurs in small business and communities, that is the number one thing that creates health, like physical health, community health, entrepreneurs. And I think, you know, there's nobody better that I can think of who has she is so inspiring and she doesn't think she is. I tell her, like, she's already rolling her eyes at me. We've become, when I met Janet, I was like, forget Eat, Pray, Love. Okay. Like Janet's story should be a movie, number one. How does one go from San Diego to the Panama jungle, which is where she's calling in from today? Like, welcome aboard the inspiration train. And when she told me her story, I was like, please write a book. Let's get your story out there. The things that she has done from San Diego to this moment to experience that success. Same thing with my story, right? It was iterative, and we started talking about how can we help as many people as possible find that freedom, and what does that look like? Because we know what it's like. We know what that feels like when you're taking multiple jobs, right? I was working like 6 at one point. It was crazy. I was just hustling. And Janet's going to talk about that. And so, Janet, I just want to say thank you so much for coming to us all the way today from a beautiful jungle. I think you have like actual monkeys that visit you and stuff. Like
Oh, they were
it's pretty.
literally in the tree by my house for 2 days, like right outside my living room for this just a couple days ago. So yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
And yesterday we had toucans. So very
So,
cool.
I mean, yeah, very, very like something that is otherworldly. It really is. And so I'm so excited for people to meet you for so many reasons. Number one, who you are as a person and what you've accomplished in your life. And I can't wait for everybody to hear that story. But also, you know, you are a lot of things to Inspire Hub. And when we got introduced, it was kind of funny because I think we accidentally stole a client who decided to come over to our platform.
Yeah.
And you were like, who are you? That's how our friendship began. I really do believe, you know, I call you a friend. It's been a journey since the beginning, and you immediately saw what we're doing. So, but let's start with you. Can you share with everybody who's here today, how did you go from San Diego to Panama and that journey? Because I think it's incredible.
Well, you know, I will tell you that if I saw my story 15 years ago, I would have felt the same way as you. When it's you doing it, you know, and you know, you feel like just a typical person, you know, and it's pretty crazy. I was a stay-at-home mom for 16 years. And then at the end of that time, within a couple of years after that, I was looking at a divorce, and I was absolutely terrified to, provide for myself, although I did have some help because I had been a stay-at-home mom. But, I'm a hard worker just by nature. So I hit the ground running and came into the workforce as major gaps in my resume because I had been momming, although I'd been very active mom doing a lot of different things, and also a recession in the United States. So it was pretty humiliating. I'll be honest. It was pretty humiliating being not getting responses from basic job interviews and knowing the talents that I had and the hard work that I would be able to offer. And so I ended up saying, you know what, forget this. I have an entrepreneurial spirit, so I'm going to do my own thing. And I knew, I took a good hard look at, okay, I'm going to do this. I want to do it right for me. And what are some of the core things? And the core things were I wanted to, I wanted to take advantage of my entrepreneurial spirit and be my own boss. And I wanted to be a support for other small business owners. I am very much a leader in my own life, but I love, love, love supporting people in their endeavors and helping others be successful as well. And then third, I set out with very consciously to be able to work from anywhere. I knew at that point that I wanted to, at the minimum, travel and work, but I also did have it as a goal to be an expat somewhere. It's just something that I wanted to do in my life, bucket list thing. Before I hit my rocking chair at the end, I really wanted to do that. So, I was, when I started my actual corporation, it was really just kind of a tax thing that my accountant recommended. It wasn't like I had this big set clear vision. One of the reasons, and we'll talk about this later, but one of the reasons I did start my Hub Mama educational mentorship program is because I could have used a lot more guidance at that early stage in my freelance journey. So I think things would have, gone faster and I would have made less mistakes. Although mistakes are good, it's always great to minimize them. So, so I started my company, and I look back and I attribute one of the biggest reasons for my success to, I would say, I lost the ego. I know I'm smart. I knew I was very, very capable. But for my first client, I would pick up their dog food. I would pick up their cleaning on the way to meet them to help them with their online marketing. So, I didn't have this, oh, that's just beneath me. I didn't have that attitude at all. And the other thing, I opened every door, and that is why you and I connected, Karolyn, because I'm a huge believer in peeking through and seeing what's there, because so many opportunities are missed if you don't look and aren't open to change and you aren't open to new ways of thinking. So I think those two things just combined to set the ball rolling. And I was fortunate, but I mean, I created that fortune by pursuing opportunities. I had a great first client who taught me so much, and they kind of provided that core level of income that I needed. And there came a point where, like I said, I was doing online marketing, social media, blog content for them, and just learning. And there came a point when Google started with the whole mobile friendly. It was the very beginning of the whole mobile friendly thing. And their website failed the test. So that was one of the first things I did was let's test their website. It failed. And I said, hey, I will give you a killer deal on a website if you let me learn, by doing your website. And so they said, absolutely. So I did it. They were happy. And after that, little trickles of referrals came in, and they just never stopped. And I literally never had to do marketing because I just offered stellar service. I would always underpromise, overdeliver. I worked really hard, and I was always, like I said, always open to learning new things and expanding my skill set. And all throughout all this, I was working primarily at home. And so I was checking that box. And just continued to grow. And, I never wanted, it was never my goal to be huge. I just wanted to love what I was doing. I wanted to be able to do it from anywhere. And I wanted to make my clients happy and, have a nice little base of clients that I made happy. And that definitely happened. COVID hit. I actually got way, way busier during COVID because everybody was taking their businesses online. Just a couple years before COVID, my partner and I decided we were ready to start planning the whole expat thing. I fortunately, a little sidebar is, I'd met my partner right around maybe a year after I started my company, and one of the appeals was we both wanted to be expats someday. So we finally decided to start researching, did our research, and came down here for reconnaissance mission. We, had our little checklist, and Panama was in #1 position. And we came down here and drove all around the country and found the area that we liked. Came down on another trip. I bought some land, and unfortunately, COVID did delay us a little bit, but it doesn't matter because we didn't even have power on our property yet. So that was all good. My daughter graduated from university. We came down, pretty much sold the majority of what I had. I did keep my property in San Diego, but I sold all the stuff you accumulate over the years, and had some stuff, including all my, like, I love to read. So I shipped my whole library of books down, and we rented while we built our house. And as I was just enlightening Sue, we lived here for 1 year without power. So no solar. We had a generator,
Love it.
we had headlamps, and it was an adventure. And so we've been in our place now for a couple of years. I've remained fluid in my plans. Things have changed. I had plans to do a big retreat down here, and honestly, it was kind of a combination of meeting Karolyn and getting connected with the IHUBApp that was just it like rejuvenated my excitement for my business. And also living in Panama, it just infuses you with the desire not to work so hard. So I decided no retreat. I wanted to be able to just live here peacefully and continue with my scribaceous. And I've successfully this year cut back my hours because I am working smarter and not harder now. So
I
and
love that.
and kept the same level of service. So
Yeah. And, so perfect segue, by the way, because when we meet, you are building out your business, you're very much, and one of the first things as you I call it the great interrogation that happened. Janet came in and she did like a full audit on our tech, on our platform, on our website, on our marketing. She calls a meeting with me and I wasn't sure what to expect. And it was like technical interview questions. How do you guys handle this? What's going on with that? And then one of the fascinating moments that I just really, really loved was when you had this, you were like, wait a second. I remember you were like, I don't understand. How did this hub get launched in 2 days? And so when
yeah.
I showed her that, that was like a break. Like I remember we didn't even know each other, and the look on your face, because I was like, no, it really was 2 days. I'll show you. And when you saw it, you were just like, this is mind blowing. And I remember you were so very excited. But the other thing I remember about that the first couple meetings we had is you were very definitive in setting out what you wanted for your success as an entrepreneur, which is a part of being successful. And I remember you said, I have a beach ROI. And I was
Yeah.
like, I was thinking it was an acronym. And so I was like, what does that stand for? And you said, no, no, no. It's literally everything I'm doing right now. How much time does it give me back so that I can spend more time on the beach?
Yeah.
And that was so brilliant. And so when you saw, we had this whole funny moment where you're like, do you know how much time I'm spending right now with my clients? And your product's very, very different. And so that, we'll get into that in a little bit here. But one of the other pieces that I thought was just really, really incredible was that we started going into, truly, it was a partnership at that point. You were like learning our product. You were like, each week we were just having this great time because you were just saying like, I'm bringing all my, I remember you were like, Karolyn, I'm bringing every single one of my clients. Like this is it. And then that led into our shared discussion about your story and my story, which I opened up with. And I think this is important. Janet was actually the one who said, listen, where it's at for me right now is passive income. You were the one who brought that up. I don't know if everybody realizes that I was creating curriculum at the time for a certified hubmaster, and you were on it. You were the first one to get certified. Hub Mama was born out of that because I made a joke that you were the mother of all hubmasters.
Yeah.
And you said that's amazing, and that got born. It's amazing how things have partnered. But it was really fascinating for me because you instantly saw the potential of, we just didn't have it as a business. And I just think for those who are listening, this is how we work with our clients and our partners. Is you came to me and said, you know, what would be great is I'd like to make passive income off of everything that I'm doing with your platform. And then you educated me. And you really did educate me, which is why I wanted to have you here today to talk about, like, yes, we have passive income opportunities with our IHUBApp Ally and affiliate marketing program. There's other things with the tools that we've been developing. Again, Janet at the forefront being like, hey, can you get me this? I need a call to action module, Karolyn. What about paid channels, Karolyn? Like, you know, you've been like, this is what my customers need to make passive income. This is what I need to make passive income. Janet just wants passive income everywhere. Okay. And so if you're listening today, you're in the right room because we're going to talk about that. But let's start, Janet, can you start off with, because you know, we have a group of people who are here today. They're all like, I want to make passive income. Who doesn't? That's the road to wealth. I saw a podcast and they told me passive income is where I'm going to get my yacht. So can you start off with, for everybody in the room, because I know that I have now leveled myself up thanks to, you know, your exposure and knowledge. But like, can we first talk about what is passive income? And can you share with everybody one of my favorite experiences that you said, you know what, it's not what people think. Can you just educate, like you did with me, the audience that is here today learning about passive income?
Well, for me, you know, there's active and passive, right? Passive income, active is obvious. You know, I am, you know, doing a newsletter for somebody, and I'm getting paid by the hour or by the project. You know, passive income it's a little misleading, the name, because it's definitely not passive. You know, I'll use my Hub Mama program as an example because a lot of people, you know, are looking to do like paid webinars and something like that. So it took hours and hours and hours of work. I mean, over a long time to create the Hub Mama curriculum. From that point on, it becomes passive because I don't have to, you know, people are watching those webinars and I'm not working in that moment. So I guess it's just, I think almost, I don't know a better term for it, but it's like exponential active income because it's like active income that you can just exponentially earn from rather than just for the one client, you can earn it for multiple. And so for me as a website and graphic designer and, you know, assisting people with online marketing, I had very, you know, really not a ton of opportunities for passive income. You know, I would host my website clients, but that, you know, when you get into website hosting, it's very, very expensive and it's a big responsibility. So it's not really something that I wanted to delve super deeply into and focus on. And then, you know, for me, I have to believe personally, I have to very much believe in a product in order to offer it to my clients and get affiliate income off of it. So for me, I was really just dealing with one email marketing platform that I felt like at the, you know, before I met IHUBApp, met their, you know, my clients' needs. So, and that was, it had a good affiliate program. I would, you know, do okay with just referring people and I would get, you know, money every time they signed up. But that was really it. And it wasn't really anything I was extremely passionate about and very consistent with per se. And so when I found the IHUBApp and you did the interrogation call with you and did my research and First and foremost, like I said, I have to really believe in the product. It was the answer to these issues that I had been seeing with my WordPress clients for the last couple of years, at least. And, WordPress just was becoming so complex and was not really the answer for every small business or solo entrepreneur that I was working with. And I felt for them, it was just getting so cost prohibitive for so many people. So, as I mentioned, I did my research, fell in love with the IHUBApp. I saw all the opportunities for it. And then I moved to what it could do for me passively. You and I kind of hashed out how, like, I would like a passive income affiliate program to look like, to encourage me to, promote it even. What really, it's not why I promote it. Like I said, it's just for me, the gravy of why using this platform.
Yeah, and let's just jump in real quick on like a couple of things because during that time about passive income, you were looking for different programs. And I remember one of the things that you said is that there are and you can find them, right? If you just pay $10,000 for this program, then you're going to make all this money. Like these huge I guess get rich quick schemes that are out there that require people to put up money up front. And I think one of the things that we were really talking about is our commitment to actually help people launch a dream. And what happens when you don't have even $500, let alone these big huge bills, so that those companies are making what they're getting their money, right?
So
And
literally, I wanted to interrupt really quick. I had
yeah,
a guy
please.
sitting in my living room last night, and he said he's looking into an AI platform, a new AI marketing platform, and they were charging him $50,000 to become a part of this affiliate program. Now the numbers were bigger, right? And what he could make. But I'm like, I was sitting there as he's just hyping this thing up, and I'm thinking, like, no. Like, I think later my partner said, I think he was trying to sell you. And I'm like, well, I didn't even bite because I wasn't even like the whole time I'm thinking is, yeah, IHUBApp doesn't ask me for anything, nothing, and I could be a part of their program. So yeah.
Yeah, and thank you. Let's talk about that because when we're going out into the marketplace, one of the reasons that was intentional, you and I talked about that, right? Is the fact that there's a lot of organizations out there that say, hey, here we can be your side hustle. Buy all this product, then go and resell it into your friends and family. If you're good at it, you're going to have a little bit of money to play with. If you're bad at it, you're going to have a closet filled of stuff that that needs to get out there, and get used or sold. And, there's a lot of those different programs out there. There's like the products
Many.
that are available. There's so many of that. And one of the things that we talked about is in those cases, those companies have received their pay. Right. So when you participate in a program like that, yes, maybe you get their training for free, but you're buying all their product. They've
They're
made their
happy.
money.
Yeah, they're
It's up
happy.
to you now to be successful.
Mhm.
And we wanted to be different. And so that's why we created the free to become a hubmaster free. You can become a certified hubmaster. Janet was the first. And I even asked you, I'm like, should we be charging you for this? And Janet was like, no, like, let's talk about that. Why we went out to the market and we were like, you know what, if we are really going to see the success, and now we have so many hubmasters, it's an exciting time to be here for sure. You were the first back in the day. But if you really challenge me, if you really want to help people, Karolyn, and you really want to launch their dreams, then allow them to come through. They're going to have to invest their time to learn. But investing your time to learn on a Saturday morning is not the same as actually putting out this money in the hopes that you're going to get that back, right? And so that was the first thing. And then the second thing with the passive income was, again, same thing, is like we're going to win together and partner together. And that's part of our conversations around the passive marketing, the becoming a hubmaster and those things. And you can actually just do affiliate marketing. But I want to quickly talk about for people who are here and they are affiliate marketers, right? So one of the things that I think it needs to also be a statement that you and I have talked about is just like you said, passive income is not passive,
Yep.
full stop. It requires work. And the most successful affiliate marketers who are out there that, you know, you see people look up to, we have mega influencers now coming to our platform with millions of subscribers and followers. And they do have income that's being made passively, but they are working. Like they are working, you know, they work smart, not
Mhm.
harder,
Yeah,
right? But there's still it doesn't happen is what I'm
right.
trying to say. Like the effort has
Absolutely.
to be there. And we wanted to make sure today we were like, whoever comes into this webinar, we want them to hear this. That if you're wondering, like, well, I'm not seeing success in my other programs, maybe this will be the program that will magically, if I just sign up and put out a couple links, that people will all of a sudden just like it'll go, you know, bonkers out there and I'll just be a millionaire overnight. That's also misleading, correct? Like, and I really, because I know
Absolutely.
you're encountering this a lot because you're doing the Hub Mama training. And so I just, if you can just talk about the difference and lean into that affiliate marketing piece just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of noise out there for all of us, you know, in terms of people marketing to us, and so, you know, you do have to actively market, as you mentioned earlier, and I want to make sure people understand, you do not have to be designing hubs and developing hubs as a hub master to be an affiliate. You know, I talk about like coaches. Some of my coaches can be anybody who's a business consultant, who's helping others grow their business. The affiliate program is perfect for them because it's a platform that they can, you know, recommend, that they believe in. And you know, going back to that, it's really just, it's not making it so you don't have to work. It's really just making your hourly earnings or your whatever, however you calculate them, exponentially grow because you're not having to work as hard for just your straight hourly rate or whatever you're used to making. So, and you know, it is, there's you know, no inventory, no cost to sign up, no inventory. For me, those are big red flags. You know, when I was a stay-at-home mom, I did those things. I did, you know, creative memories. I was a you know, major scrapbooker and had to buy all
Well,
the,
I got a whole pile of scrapbooks. I was your
oh yeah,
client.
I tons of inventory. And it's true. You were the customer. You were the customer. And they wanted you to be buying all this inventory. So for me, that's, you know, when you mentioned charging to be a hubmaster, I'm like, no, you know, that's not how it is with WordPress, say, for instance. And there's enough for us to do as, you know, freelancers to develop our business that, you know, that we should not be paying for that. You know, we need
Yeah,
to be investing in our marketing program and, you know, making connections.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah. And so what we want to do now, you know, we talked about how we've met, how you got to Panama, our journey with Inspire Hub. Obviously, we're talking about our product and our company because that's what connected us in the first place. But one of the things that we really want for everybody who is on this call is to have some key takeaways as to what does that look like once you want to start your own business, right? And so what does that look like? What are some things to be careful of? So I'm just going to I've have a background in helping launch small businesses, so does Janet. I'm going to give a couple of my thoughts on if you are right now on this call because you're thinking, I want passive income, I want to launch my dream. I have a dream for a business and we want to help launch 1 million dreams. Janet is a big part of that. So we're just going to talk about some really practical advice on what that looks like before you get in. So the first thing, I'm going to start off and I'm going to give my first tip, Janet, and then if you want to jump in about the importance of this, because you actually did this by practical nature, right? Like when you started out, you were like, I just got to get going. And the first thing is, and you and I were talking about this, how you'll have people who are have a dream and they'll go and share it and they'll be like, I have an idea for a business. And so the first thing you do, right? You go and talk with your friends and family, and then they go, that's a great idea. that is a great idea. Or maybe they say it's not, but most times it's like, you know what, that's you're onto something there. And the big mistake that people is like they believe they have found, you know, the golden goose, the idea. It's just an idea at that point. And that they're like, I'm gonna mortgage my home, I'm gonna leave my job, I'm gonna go pursue this big thing. And one of the things that you mentioned that you were doing was like just getting your foot in the door at the small level. But the very first piece of advice that we want to say, if you are listening to this today, the first thing you need to do is it's great if you have the support of your friends and family. That doesn't count as a test. That
Right.
tells you that you're going to have a supportive network for the nightmare hours that you're about to put in the future. Good for you. That is not a market test. And so
Mhm.
the first thing that you should be doing is testing that idea. And Janet, I know that with you do have a program that helps you know, those who want to start up a hub mama business specifically, if you know, in mentoring. And I've had the privilege of taking some of the courses. I think I shared this with you. I found it very soothing. It was it's such a great course. Your practical business advice is great. But can you talk for a moment just about like the fastest and easiest recommendation that you're giving to people on like can you get out there and test a hub, like test your idea and I guess a hub.
Well,
So
I, I mean, first of all, everything in my hubmama program is compiled from, my 10 years, 11 years now of doing what I do and going through all the growing pains. And, I was very independent. I didn't know people. I didn't have connections at that point. So didn't even know who to follow necessarily in the beginning, that was online. So you really get your money's worth when you have a mentor, when you have somebody who's been there, who can bring you back down to earth when you need to, and who can rise you up when you're feeling down and can help you navigate a lot of the things that, you don't, like I said, I'm not a mistake avoider because we learn so much from our mistakes, and all the mistakes that I've made over the last 11 years have contributed to my wisdom. But the ones that, you don't maybe need to make, that aren't as valuable, that mentor can help guide you and get you to your end point where you want to be. And you're kind of, in that kind of lovely passive, let's call it exponential active income mode. And so there is huge value. And I see, looking back on my journey, where I would have hugely benefited from that. And then the other
mhm,
thing I tell people is, I see a lot in my position as working as this, consulting type business for solopreneurs primarily, is if you are serious about it, you really do need to look at investing well in certain aspects of that from the very beginning. I think that there's still hangs on this attitude that the internet is this provides all these opportunities without having to spend a dollar. And that's not true anymore. It maybe was when it was the Wild West in the very beginning, but it is no longer the Wild West. It is very settled. And going back to the mentor can help you choose which platforms, how not to waste money on certain platforms,
yeah,
certain costs. And but also when to invest the money in those core things that will not only save you money later, but help you earn more money later because you've invested in the right places. Because
yeah,
look, a business, if I see it a lot. A lot of people want to make money doing nothing, and we're out of that era. We really are. We're out of the era where
yeah,
you can start a YouTube channel and, make thousands of dollars.
right,
So you
yeah.
have to do things with wisdom, with knowledge, and with some investment.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And I think, you know, so having that mentor, I mean, one of the things that is, you know, that someone can do in getting the mentorship, I highly recommend that, And then the next thing is testing that idea. And the one thing that is actually free is our free forever hubs.
Yes.
so we
And
do,
even
so
the
they
light
can get up
version,
there. Yeah.
even the light version
Yeah.
is just incredibly affordable. You can't, you can't
Yeah.
argue with that. And yeah, get you, it, one of the reasons I love the iHub app is people who have an idea can start on their own right away. Investing in the iHub app and in it, investing their time in creating something that, can start that ball rolling and test what, what services, what opportunities, what webinars work and what don't. And then, that working hopefully in conjunction with somebody who can advise them so that it cuts down on that testing time so that they get to the point where it's like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to take this to, a fully professional level. I know what, have a good idea of what's going to work and what's not going to work. And then be ready for things to change and be fluid in your journey. And
And
yeah,
as usual, you're always tracking and you're already making my point. So the a few more points I was going to say. Number one, set your milestones, which is what you did back in the day. Set your milestones and say, I'm going to go test this thing. Set up a free hub. I'm going to see how it responds in the marketplace. Do people even engage? I'm going to put some content and blogs into that time. Like, I love what you said about this is not the era of just set up a YouTube channel anymore. Those great huge influencers, a lot of people don't realize, they're spending money to boost that.
yeah.
Like, it's not
Oh,
just organically happening
and it's
anymore.
consistency. If I were to mention a third thing, it's consistency. And you've got to put out content consistently in order to keep reaping the benefits of, SEO
Right.
and found organically and communicating through your content, not only what you're knowledgeable about and what you're marketing, but that you're serious about your business and you're keeping current and you're keeping up. I mean, that builds a level of trust and expertise that people are looking for today. There's a lot of people out there that put a shingle on their door and, people are looking for evidence that this person truly is an expert at what they do or, whether that's a product or a service. So
Right.
consistency is key.
Yeah. Key and iterating, as you already mentioned, making sure that you're taking a look at what is resonating and then building on that. And then I think the final piece, which we spent a lot of time talking about, what it means to be a solopreneur, what it means to launch your dream, what it means to be an entrepreneur, and that it can feel very isolating. And of course, when we were having that conversation, you were like literally in a jungle in Panama. And I remember we were talking about the importance of, finding not just your mentor, but your community and your support group. And
That was a huge part of IHUBApp community for me. Your vision includes, we talked a lot about down the road, all these things that you're going to be doing and just creating this connection that I don't have with WordPress there's not really it's just too big. I don't have that sort of community. So that was hugely appealing to me with the
yeah.
IHUBApp.
And then when we started scaling, I remember you called a meeting. You're like, how do you, it's great. We're excited that, things are scaling, but how do we make sure we don't lose the community? And
Yeah.
so this is a perfect segue to bring Sue Jenks back in here because Sue has been so intentional. Sue is actually the reason we're in this webinar today. Sue oversees the feeding and care of all of our hubmasters now, making sure that our community is having regular events and bringing things together. That has been a core part of our growth and bringing all of that together. And so, we talked about a lot of things already, but Sue, I kind of want to jump this over to you and really kind of turn it back on you, which I know was not part of the original plan at all.
Yeah.
And and we love that, but I do want you to just kind of like talk to those who are sitting on this call about, we're talking about all the different programs, the support, the things, but some of the things that you have in store for our allies and our hubmaster communities coming up in terms of webinars and things that you're working on. And also, she is also the captain of the hub ship. And so what is the hub ship, and where is it
Wow.
going, and what does I know that's the first time I've ever referred to Sue as the captain of the hub ship, so that's why we're all kind of chuckling. But can you just give us a little bit of that? And I apologize in advance for putting you on the spot. So
Oh goodness. I'm just here to support. We have wonderful resources, and our free training is amazing. Maybe our team can put those links in the chat right now for those. But the Hub Store is a beautiful resource. If you would just like to take a look at some of the hubs that are being built around the world, we could put that in the chat as well. And then the hub ship is really the place where our hub masters and allies can come and connect and actually support each other. I'm just here to facilitate the conversation, and it's just been a beautiful thing to see hub masters, certified hub masters, speaking and supporting each other. So really, I like to cook. So, I like to put all of it out on the table. And then my most fun thing is seeing people come to the table and interact with each other. And so that's what happens on the hub ship. And we're hoping to really increase that as we grow. And we're seeing hundreds of hub masters come in and begin to interact and build that support for each other that we're looking for. We're
it's
we're kind of at the end of time here, though, so I really wanted to ask Janet one more question, if that's okay. Did you have
please,
something,
yeah,
Carolyn?
absolutely. No, that's great. Thank you.
I mean, ladies, the information that you've shared here today, just inspiring story, Janet, and such valuable information about building your own business. And as we said, if you joined us late, Janet is a current iHub ally, and she was one of our top performing allies. But she has some very specific information. I know some people are asking questions about why would I build a hub if I already have a website? And what are ways that I can keep my website and build a hub? And what's the difference? So if I could ask you to unpack that a little bit, Janet,
Sure.
today,
So,
that would be beautiful.
initially I was in the box of thinking strictly that it was, for my clients, it was either a WordPress website or the IHUBApp. And, I forget exactly when a light bulb went off. I think I was having a conversation with a client. I had a conversation. I had a conversation with one client who he has a very, very intricate WordPress website. It's not an option for him to switch over because he's got a lot of high level customization in a class registration system and a searchable directory. But he was voicing to me his frustration with all of his emails from his traditional email marketing platform were going into the promo or the spam folders. Especially after Google in February of this year, Google, Gmail and Yahoo really upped their spam control. So it has gotten really, really, really tough to get those emails into people's inboxes. Well, my experience with the IHUBApp has been all of my newsletters, my own personally, my clients are going right into that inbox. And I just was like, wait a minute, the IHUBApp, it started me like branching out, thinking that the IHUBApp can be used as a complementary tool along with the website if it's not an option. And some people aren't comfortable taking the leap with new technology. So it may be that their website could easily be an IHUBApp, but they're just not quite ready yet. They need to like dip their toe in the water. So some of the different ways, it just got me out of this box of thinking. And some of the different ways that you can use the IHUBApp in conjunction with an established website is use it as a communication hub. Replace your traditional email marketing platform. They are not really working so great anymore, especially as of February this year. Get those emails directly into the inboxes. don't spend money on a virtual assistant or whoever does your admin work for you to manually create a newsletter every month. Or some people do it weekly. The IHUBApp does it without anybody doing anything automatically for you every week. And so, it can be this, and then the third benefit is, whereas you create this newsletter on these traditional email marketing platforms and it hits people's promo boxes or spam, maybe the inboxes, rarely, and then people read it and it's gone. Well, if you're using the IHUBApp as a communication hub, every post that you have remains evergreen. It stays on your hub, your communication hub. It's accessible into perpetuity by your clients. So you're adding value to them by keeping that information accessible. And it's also an SEO benefit because now you have an actual SEO, visible post from something that just was an email newsletter before. So there's a lot of reasons to look at this platform as this beautiful communication hub. Websites tend to be, the way I kind of look at it now is, okay, the website's this static place where you could, if you can't or aren't ready to get rid of it yet, it's just got this fixed info, that you can, what are your services? But this IHUBApp as a communication hub is dynamic. It's where all the action takes place. And so, that led me to looking at how can my other clients use it? Well, okay, I have a lot of coaches who are clients. And it's a coaching tool. This is where their coaching can go down. It's not going to happen on a website. If you can get it done there, it's so expensive and it's constantly having problems every time there's updates and all that. So I'm like, forget that. This is one of the areas where I was looking for some different platform because WordPress is just not set up for solopreneurs to be able to afford and to handle doing that. So the IHUBApp is perfect for that. You can use it, this is where all your content can be generated. You can have exclusive channels for your premium clients. You can have paid channels coming up where you are selling premium content to those people who are interested. I've even set it up where you have interactive FAQ and chat pages. And so that's where the value of a hubmaster comes in, who really knows the product is. They'll be able to help you with things that you don't even realize that the IHUBApp is capable of, and so becomes this dynamic coaching tool. It can be a training platform. It can be for a business who has, their business side of things. It can be an HR hub. There's just so many different ways. So if you get out of this box as both a hubmaster and just an ally, you have all these increased opportunities to, say, this is an incredible tool for you. You need to check it out. So yeah, that's I think where
I love hearing you talk about what we built. Okay. I know that we're here to talk about passive
it
market,
must be really cool.
it's so exciting to hear it. So
well, it's very exciting for me. It really, like I said before, it rejuvenated my excitement for my business because now I feel like I can provide something that is, number one, it works. And number two, it's affordable. I was really just feeling the pain so deeply of my clients every time, they'd want me to do, they're, emailing me and texting me and calling me, do this, and this. And then they get my invoice and they're like, and I'm like, well, and so with the IHUBApp, it's so much simpler to use. I can pass off a lot of things to them. And the IHUBApp does a lot of these things like the newsletters automatically. So they're saving money. And I created a chart where I can show them like, look, here's what because first, when you tell people there's this monthly license fee, they get a little, I can't do that. And I'm like, look, this is what you're spending right now. This is it. Hosting, email marketing platform, virtual assistant, and when I did that chart, it was you know, it depends on the client and the services they're paying for, but it was mostly equal or less expensive to do the IHUBApp. And empowering them was, you know, huge for me, because I could see my clients just feeling more and more frustrated because they were disempowered. You know, they had to use me for everything, even doing a simple blog and WordPress. And now I'm like, look, I can show you how to do this. You can do this from your phone. So
I love it.
yeah,
And I love it. And you know, we're so committed to everybody who's discovering hubs and building on hubs. And I love the value that you keep showing your clients and bringing them in. And just, you know, as I know we're wrapping up here time on time, Sue. And so the only thing I also want to share is that we have changed a few things at Inspire Hub. The platform itself has a number of new features that we are constantly promoting out on the hub ship. And also we are now, we were a little bit for a while there, like a housekeeper who had a dirty house. But if you go to ihubgo.com, that everything that you see going on ihubgo.com is ourselves and our technology. And the other thing is we have changed the hub store for what it was. It's brand new, how we're using it. But our goal is to help drive traffic to hubs as they help other people find hubs they love and also find hubmasters. And we have really turned that into a true store with more amazing things to come in the future, of being able to monetize your hubs in the future, monetize features in the future. For if you are a hubmaster and you're hearing this, get onto the hub, make sure your hub is up there. All your hubs are up there. Also, make sure your listing is up there, because we are brand new building out the directory. And so I think we've just got, we just launched that. That's brand new. So a lot of exciting things that are happening. And Janet, it's just, thank you. Thank you for your enthusiasm. You have also rejuvenated us when you came
my
on board
pleasure.
too.
It's exciting to be on this journey. I'm grateful every day for having, you know, for Mark to connect me with you, and, you know, this serendipitous path that developed. And yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting for me and a lot of people. It's so great to have something that is usable for people and is not intimidating and can really, really boost engagement. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Love it. I love it. We have just a couple minutes. If anyone has a question for Karolyn or Janet, go ahead and put it in the chat. And meanwhile, I just wanted to mention to go ahead, as Karolyn said, to visit the iHub website for more information, or to sign up for a free hub, or to sign up for free training and our ally program. It can all be found there. And our team will put the links in chat as well. I want to mention also that you've seen
Sue,
it today.
Sorry, really quick.
Oh,
I want
go
to
ahead.
mention too another resource. On
Sure.
thehubmama.com, I have a ton of tutorials and, you know, always posting new updates and news also about the IHUBApp. So please, it's all free. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Please put that link in too, if you would, team. I wanted to mention though that you really, if you don't follow Janet and Karolyn on LinkedIn, you should. They both share incredibly valuable business and leadership tips and information there all the time. Their insight has been invaluable. So we're going to put the links to their LinkedIn profiles as well. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Karolyn, and
thank
to
you,
all of
Brad.
you for attending today. Really great conversation, very valuable information. And we do these webinars once a month. So stay tuned for the next one. And hope that you've all found this of value today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
Have a
everyone.
great day.